Popcorn is again not paying for this, so I'm not going to talk about him. It is a fine product. I have some stuff to say. You can find out later if you send in a check. But I do have plenty to say about the 1998.
1998.
Good year. 1998, classic, Best Picture nominee.
Eddie Murphy.
Oh, Mrs. Dolittle.
Do a little dance, make a little love, get down tonight.
Dr. Dolittle.
You're gonna have to give me CPR.
I don't know. No tongue, doc. No,
It's a false alarm. It's just gas. Stop looking at me like that.
This movie, I didn't know when it came out. When it came out, it felt like a big deal. I don't know if that's an invented memory for me of this movie was like it had a lot of hype around it when it came out, and I just remember it that way.
Yeah.
I think if that is true, I think it's because Eddie Murphy is talking to animals, and this is still this period in the 90s where, talking about with Space Jam, part of the reason Space Jam was cool was it took a real life mega celebrity and put him in a different universe where he's talking to animated characters, which now does not look cool. You can do that on your laptop with AI.
Yeah.
But back then it was like, oh my god, it's so cool Michael Jordan and Bugs Bunny are coexisting in the same universe. Which is why Space Jam 2 was stupid to me, is because part of the appeal of Space Jam 1 was it was just kind of was somewhat innovative.
Well, but also the reason why Space Jam 1 really worked is because at that time, Looney Tunes characters like Bugs Bunny were huge.
Yeah,
like in the early 90s,
yeah.
like that
Right.
was a big thing, especially because Looney Tunes had partnered with like Great America and theme parks like that. And so it was like kind of a big deal. So it was like two universes come together as opposed to LeBron James and Looney Tunes,
And
who have not been
characters, yeah.
not been really relevant for years.
But even if you put LeBron James, is SpongeBob still popular?
I think.
Hi, I'm SpongeBob.
Let's just use it as an example.
Yeah.
You put LeBron James in the SpongeBob universe, I don't think people would think that's that cool. I don't know. Maybe we need to make that film and then figure it out.
Yeah.
But my point is, I think when this came out, the idea of Chris Rock voicing a hamster or guinea pig, whatever it is, and talking to Eddie Murphy and vice versa, it's like that's just inherently funny.
Yeah.
Is that an animal is talking. And now like, that's not funny at all. You can make a TikTok where your dog is talking.
Yeah. But I mean, unfortunately, this is kind of... So Eddie Murphy has had various stages of his career, right? He had his stand-up stage, which was kind of coincided with like SNL, where he became this huge, hilarious star, right? And then you followed that up with so many of his like top-notch movies, Coming to America, and then like in Trading Places, of course, my two favorite movies of all time. But even then, like stretching to the end of the 80s into the early 90s with like 48 Hours with Nick Nolte, and follow-ups to that, Beverly Hills Cop, Beverly Hills Cop 2, Beverly Hills Cop 3, which I think came out just like a couple years before this. I think it was like 96 that
The
one
third
came
one
out.
did?
The third one.
Yeah.
But when you get to the end of that segment of his career, you start to enter into the long twilight of his career, which kind of started like he did the Clumps, or not the Clumps. He did
Professor.
Nutty Professor, which was innovative for its time, and like same with this movie as well, remake of the old Dr. Dolittle, and but this is the start of that twilight, because then comes the long stretch of just bad movie after bad movie after bad movie, culminating with the terrible remake of Coming to America.
Oh, so you think it's all one?
Oh, I think this is all one segment of his career.
I would separate I think I would separate the two, where this is like the oversaturation part where he's just like making money. So it's this, Dr. Dolittle, Daddy Daycare.
Yeah.
Daddy Daycare.
I have not seen Daddy Daycare.
Actually, out of those three movies, Daddy Daycare is probably objectively the best one. And it's not good. It's like he just keeps cashing in these family-friendly movies. I think that's one era. Now there's like mystique about him again. People are like, he should go back to stand-up and blah, blah, blah. And like people are kind of interested in his lore again. He hosted SNL 5 years ago maybe. And it was a big deal that he came back and hosted SNL. And he's still making shit movies because Coming to America and then
It's awful.
my least favorite movie of the 2020s, You People.
Ain't this about a bitch?
Where's our waiter? I am starving.
What's the difference between me and you?
That was a terrible movie. So he's still making crap, but I don't think it's. I think it's coincidentally crap.
I put it all together because I feel like at some point here, maybe he's getting too old for it, but that return to the edgy Eddie Murphy, that would be welcomed. Like I would welcome a return to that.
Yeah,
I don't think
I
he
can't
can
picture it.
I don't think he can go to it.
Right.
You know, especially at this point, he's gone kind of into the family-friendly world from where he came from, which was the like edgy Eddie Murphy. You know, his stand-up with Delirious and Raw, which are two phenomenal stand-up movies, I guess you can call it, whatever they are. But like his stand-up shows for those two were phenomenal. His wardrobe choice was very 80s in both of them, but still phenomenal. But when he went to the like family-friendly route, I just don't know how you come back from that. And so that's why I just put it all together where it's like, yeah, maybe you can break up this segment into kind of some smaller segments in there, but like I feel like it's all still part of like this is the twilight of his career. And the twilight of his career starts late 90s.
Oh, yeah, that's fair. I think I don't know if he's still doing a ton of super family friendly, but this is just a span from like 98 to like 02, 03, where it was like a family friendly movie after family. Like I grew up with Eddie Murphy being a guy that was in kids movies.
Yeah. I did not grow up with that anyway.
And now it's there was something else he did recently. People was the one that's
I mean, like probably like 10 years ago now. I think he did like Tower Heist or something like that, which I think was still like a family-friendly movie.
I never saw it.
I never saw it either, but I know
right.
that it happened. Like I know that it occurred.
Yeah, I rewatched this recently. Took a substance beforehand to make the giggles come out, and it's people are right. It's pretty bad. But like I remember the takeaway from when this came out was that it's the original people liked enough, and this movie was shit.
I mean,
It's really not good.
I feel like with this, you know, there are certain things that are geared towards kids, and this is a geared towards kids movie that there are jokes laid in there for the parents who are taking their kids to go see this movie of this guy who can talk to animals.
Yeah.
You know, so you're going to see a lot of how bad it can be because kids movies can be bad, like really bad, which makes you appreciate all the more when you get a kids movie or like a kids show and it's good.
Like Bluey.
Like Bluey. I mean, honestly, if you took a look at the time when my sister started having her kids and when I started having my kids, right? The big things at that time for her was like Caillou.
Silly old car! Silly!
Who is objectively an awful person,
I don't know
an
anything.
awful character.
I don't know what this is.
Whose awfulness is why he's bald. He is the worst shit character out there. And yet, like, they, like, were pushing Caillou on me. Like, oh, watch Caillou. Like, you should watch it.
Is that a Japanese show?
No, it's like, it's this show, it's this animated show. It's a white kid. It's French, I think.
What's a retirement home?
And, like, kid's got no hair. He's bald. I don't even think he's got eyebrows in the show.
But
So like,
alopecia.
it might have alopecia, but
Villanueva?
it might be alopecia, but it also could just be he sucks so much so his hair doesn't want to grow.
Caillou.
Name out your fucking mouth!
I'm going to, okay?
Caillou is the fucking worst, and so
When you said Caillou, so I didn't mean to cut you off.
no, it's
I
okay.
pictured like a sushi restaurant or like a university, like Caillou. I had no fucking idea what you were talking about.
I can understand because like there's kaiju, which is a different spelling. Kaiju.
Sounds like a
No, not. So like Godzilla. Godzilla is like a kaiju.
Oh, okay.
So like that's a Japanese thing, and that's like
Kaiju.
Yeah, so like that's a whole other thing. So, but I understand, like why you might have thought that like there's a similarity there, but like it's Caillou, which is
This is an American show.
I think it's French, to be honest with you, because Caillou I think is a French name. I don't even really fucking know. I just know that it's terrible. It's an awful, awful show. Side note: my sister like had all these DVDs because at that time like that's how you got your kids to, like when you were consuming their stuff, like they didn't have the streaming services where, like now where I could just turn on like Bluey or I could turn on another show like that. They had to like watch DVDs, and so like she like gave me all of these DVDs, and like I saw a bunch of them were Caillou. I was like, fuck no, give the garbage. She's like, you don't want that? I was like, no, Caillou's the worst. He's awful. But so then when you get to like Bluey, and you're like, man, this is awesome. I can watch this as an adult. Like, my kids are enjoying it. The episodes are like 8 minutes long. They teach the kids a little something. Like, there's a lesson to be had in there, but it's enjoyable. Like, parents can watch it and be like, man, I enjoy this. Like, I like the characters. Like, I like the story. I like everything about it is enjoyable. And, like, there are some other shows that my kids are starting to watch now that are... they're done, like they're just watching the streaming elements of it. So like on Disney Plus, Amphibia is another animated show that they're watching, which is like
amphibians.
It's about this girl who gets transported to this world, Amphibia, that it's a bunch of amphibians that live there, and she's the only human in this world, and she becomes friends with this frog family, and it's not as enjoyable as Bluey, but it's still like I don't cringe watching the show. I'm like, okay, I can watch this, like that's fine. And so it's nice when you get something that you can watch. And same thing with like movies too, right? Like Dr. Dolittle, the kids enjoy it because the animals are talking and the humans talking to the animals. It's like, okay, but it's not a good movie. It's not really enjoyable. But then you get to, and I'm not like stumping for Disney here. This is just like what's off of the top of my head, right? But like when like Moana came out, that was an awesome movie.
Boat snack.
That was like really enjoyable, and my daughter was 3 at the time, so like she was in a phase where it was like it was perfect for her. But then there were also jokes for adults in the movie, and you're like, I could watch this repeatedly. Unfortunately, I did have to watch it repeatedly, like every week. We were like, oh, what do you want to watch? What do you want to watch tonight? Moana. Okay. What do you want to watch tonight? Moana. And like, I'm still kind of in a phase now where like the 2 kids are trading off on what they want to watch, and the older one is picking kind of crap movies that like are on Netflix. And I'm like, I don't want to watch this. Like, pick something else.
Like you people.
Like you people. And then the younger one basically is watching. He's obsessed with cars, so he's watching like the car movies, which are still enjoyable and still like to watch, or like Encanto. He loves Encanto.
Colombia, me encantó, me encantó.
Is another Disney movie. This one set in Colombia,
Colombia,
which is enjoyable. Lin-Manuel Miranda did the music for it.
me encantó.
It's catchy. But like when he's like, I want to watch Encanto. Every week it's the same thing. Like I say to the kids now, I'm like, pick something else. Pick something we haven't watched. How about this movie? We haven't watched this movie.
You just need to pick. I think offering them the option.
I do need to pick, but unfortunately when I do pick, then they get upset because it's their turn to pick and it's their life.
Or something.
Yes. I mean, I want to show them the classics of Top Gun. I mean, the homoerotic volleyball scene. What kid shouldn't have to watch that?
Have you seen Wreck-It Ralph?
I'm gonna wreck it.
Yes, I like that. That's a good movie.
I saw that just because I like with other adults in the theater, and it was like it wasn't like watching a kids movie.
No, it's not. But the kids like it because it's animated, it's funny.
Lego movie,
like,
same thing.
Same thing. Yeah, absolutely, 100%. And those are movies that like are enjoyable to watch like repeatedly.
That's more of like a blend. Like you can watch the story of Wreck-It Ralph and be into it as an adult. Whereas a movie like this, I feel like there are throwaway lines for adults.
Dog is using the bathroom.
Yeah.
The rest of the movie is tailored. It's kind of a different thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Because like, and all the funny lines come from Norm Macdonald as the dog, and it's like just throwaway. Clearly, this is meant for me to laugh, and then the rest is just shit for kids.
I'm gonna swallow the thermometer, and I don't mean in my mouth.
Yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying, especially because like for the Lego movie, so my wife and I, before we had kids, the Lego movie came out the year and like a month or two before my daughter was born. A month before my daughter was born. And we went and saw the movie in the theater. Like, we went out.
I did the same thing. I saw it.
Got pho, and then went and watched the Lego movie in the theater.
I thought you were going to say got fucked up.
Yeah, got fucked up. Nothing like a 9-month pregnant woman getting fucked up to go see the Lego movie.
Well, you could have got fucked up, and then she could have been. So I don't know.
That's
That'd been a weird experience.
Yeah.
That sounds nice. Yeah, I saw a Lego movie in theater too.
Enjoyable, very enjoyable, but this not as much.
Did you? When did you see this at some point when it came out?
Yeah, I don't think I saw it in the theaters, but I think I saw it like when it went to DVD or VHS, whichever it was at that time. I think it was DVD at that time, but like I think I picked it up from Blockbuster and watched it.
And thoroughly disappointed.
And was like, this was not that great of a movie.
They made a sequel.
I know they made a sequel. As Hollywood often does.
I'm with you on not liking sequels, but I kind of enjoy when they make a movie and they already clearly had a sequel in mind, that they were going to make a sequel, and they had like a lot of money behind it and good actors and whatever, and they don't listen to the feedback. They're just like, it's irrelevant. Like Adam Sandler was like, we're making Grown Ups 2. It doesn't matter what people think of Grown Ups 1. And this is like a perfect example. It's like no one liked this movie, but they're like, no, we already put down the deposit of the sequel. I respect that a little bit.
Yeah, I respect it a little bit more too, because the studio decided to do it, even though the entire premise of this movie was a nightmare for Eddie Murphy.
Now what?
Eddie Murphy is deathly afraid of live animals.
That's perfect. Man.
And so he basically asked and was like, can we do most of these shots digitally? Like where you just digitally put in the animals. And so they did for a lot of them. But you can tell which scenes are with live animals because they end with him screaming. And it's like actual terror because he is deathly afraid of live animals.
I was going to say it's obvious because the technology back then, you could tell which was a puppet, a real animal, or like CGI.
Yeah.
It's very obvious in the 90s. But that's hilarious that they put him through that.
Yeah, I mean, and they had so many animal trainers and animals on set, and they had to like do things in certain segments because like they had an owl, like a segment with an owl, right? But like the owl, if they weren't very careful about it, the owl would have eaten one of the other animals like on set. So they had all of these trainers, and they had to like schedule every element of it to make sure that they could get this right, so that there wasn't like an animal holocaust going on the set of Dr. Dolittle.
Made for a better movie. People say like the original. I don't know who these people are, but the original is generally considered better. But this is one of those things where I don't think anyone would know that there is an original like today.
Yeah, I mean, it was so long before.
It's like The Longest Yard. I think most younger people probably have no idea that was a remake of something, or
Coming to America.
I mean, there's going to be some people that probably won't know that either. But it's just like, it's interesting how they pick that as a thing to remake. It's not like picking up a super famous movie.
But this is when Hollywood was only slightly out of ideas. Not
Right.
entirely out of ideas like they are now, where they're just rehashing everything over and over again. This was like, well, we're kind of out of ideas, so like, why don't we like actually bring back this thing that was this TV show, and like...
I think it's almost so bad that it's kind of fun.
How bad can I be?
You ever seen Geely?
I have never seen Geely. I've just heard that it's one of the worst movies ever.
It is, it's one of the worst movies ever, and it's not, like, the reason it's probably the worst movie ever is because they were trying, you don't realize when you're watching Geely that they were actually trying to make a good movie. Mm-hmm. It's not supposed to be, like, a satire of itself.
Yeah.
But you're watching it and you think it's, like, parody, or it's just, like, it's trying to be a bad movie, but
Yeah.
they're trying to make a good movie.
Yeah.
And that's why I think it's the worst movie ever made. But you can watch it. Gigli is so bad that it's a fun watch.
I mean, I might be willing to watch it and do like some Mystery Science Theater 3000
Yes, no,
stuff.
100%. There are a lot of movies like that. Gigli's one of them. Jack and Jill is like that, I think. There are like a bunch of rom-coms that I think it's about that are so bad that I
Yeah.
enjoy watching. That's why I like Hallmark movies. You make fun of me for liking Hallmark movies, but they're so... In Hallmark movie now, it's not just a movie on Hallmark, because like Netflix makes them, but it's
Yeah.
still the brand. I call them Hallmark movies. Every Christmas, I'll watch 30 of them, because they're so bad that they're enjoyable. And they're not trying to be anything that they're not. And it's just like its own genre of thing. And this movie almost is bad enough that it's enjoyable.
I could,
But probably not. I think it's
probably
pretty-
not. Yeah, I think
pretty
it's bad. Yeah.
Do you want to give a score?
It's bad. 5.6.
I was thinking that.
No, you know what? I'm gonna go a little bit higher. I'm gonna go 5.9.
I'm going to go 5.6.
Okay.
It is 5.4.
Oh,
I went the wrong way. I was trying to give it like the benefit of the doubt, but I should always trust my instinct.
yeah, that's not good.
No, not good.